Welcome to Kenya. Welcome to Boston Marathon Prep 2025. I am back in Kenya. It is my second training camp here. Luckily enough, it is nice and sunny today. The weather has not been amazing. Come to Kenya, they said. It's gonna be nice weather, they said. This is Western Ireland. And because it is the rainy season, pretty much every single day, mostly at night, thankfully, it has been like lashing raining, which does stump the amount of runs you can do outside in the evenings, but it is fine. I can't really complain. It is warm and it's sunny most of the time during the day, and it is still better weather than in Ireland. So yeah, I am very lucky. This time around, this camp is going to be 8 weeks long. I will be in Kenya up until 4 days until the Boston Marathon. So I should really reap the rewards of the high altitude, and once I come down to sea level, once I go down to Boston, I should ideally be in a prime condition to race and perform my best. This is my second time in the town. I did do a 7-week training camp before Christmas. At that time, I was training for a 5K race. And once I did come back to sea level, once I did come back to Ireland, I did get a PB. I did feel very, very good, and I did perform much better. Obviously, being here for 7 weeks straight and training twice a day, putting a lot of focus on training, recovery, nutrition does add a lot of benefits. It's not just the altitude, it's all the factors as well combined. And because I saw so much improvement when I was here the last time, it was a bit of a no-brainer to come back here again, especially given how cold and miserable Ireland is during winter. So when given an opportunity to come back here to Iten for the winter season and train here in sunny weather, it was a bit of a no-brainer. It is my first time running a major marathon. It is my first time going over to Boston to run that race, and I'm very, very excited. Running the Boston Marathon has been on my bucket list, and it is a dream come true. It was one of the first things I really wanted to do when I started running. You know, getting that Boston qualifying time is on so many runners' bucket lists. So when I did qualify last year, I was extremely happy. 2:47, baby. Project 250 completed, baby. Let's go! Now, even though I am aiming for PB in Boston Marathon, I'm not going for anything too crazy. My current marathon PB is 2:47, and in Boston Marathon, I'll be aiming for 2:45, but I'm not overly concerned with my time. The main purpose why I want to do Boston Marathon is just to really embrace it, enjoy the atmosphere, because it hasn't been a 12-week journey towards Boston Marathon. It's been 5 years ever since I started running. It'll be more of a celebration lap more than anything else. The main marathon goal for me at the moment will be Valencia at the end of the year, where I will try to go for sub 2:30. So for that, I will really lock in. I will really dig deep and try to get that PB, like the mad PB that I really want to get. But for this one, I just want to really enjoy it, because it took me almost 4 years to get that qualifying time. You know, my first marathon was in Paris, where, you know, I don't think first marathons go well for many runners. It definitely did not for me. I got a time of 3:23, but also I went out way too hard. I had a 90-minute half marathon, and 28k in, I just hit the biggest wall. The wall literally fell on me. That's how bad it was. I cramped up, and I had the biggest positive split you could probably see. You can see exactly on the pace chart where I hit the wall. It just went from being more or less flat to just skyrocketing. Then in Barcelona, which was my second marathon, I went 3:07, which was an improvement. I was happy, but I was just so afraid of cramping up again. I was reluctant to push, and also because it was so hot. After like halfway mark, I just kept seeing so many people cramping up and stopping. I was just paranoid, so I did not push, and I didn't get that sub 3 that I wanted. And then eventually last year, I did get a 2:47 that I wanted in Copenhagen. It was a very long journey to get the qualifying time, and now that I have it, I just want to go into the Boston Marathon and remember it, and not just be constantly thinking about hitting the paces and hitting the splits. Now, it will need to be a very bad day for me to not hit sub 3 in Boston. I'm pretty confident a sub 250 will be easy enough as well. 2:45 would be a bit of a grind, but I should be able to still enjoy the atmosphere without being in the pain cave too much. 250 marathon is about 4 minutes per K split, and then 2:45 marathon is about 3:55 per K split, which is pretty okay. It should be doable. So I am pretty confident I should be able to get it. Now, there is one thing that is slightly different to this marathon prep. So over the past 9-8 months, my big focus was on getting as fast as possible at the shorter distances, with specific focus at 5K. So a lot of my training was very much double thresholds, speed work focused, which was a huge change to the ultra distance type of training I was doing previously. I also lost about 10 kg specifically to get faster. Now, although I did get PBs, I did get the times that I wanted, losing those 10 kg was a very sore point for me, because I spent a good part of 10 years trying to build up all that muscle, all that size. So seeing that disappear was kind of heartbreaking. And because I was at 93 kg when I ran the Copenhagen Marathon and I still managed at 2:47, I do believe I am capable of running relatively fast, perhaps even a 2:30 marathon at a heavier body weight. Because if you look at me before and after the 10 kg loss, majority of the weight loss did come from the muscle mass, and I do feel better mentally, physically when I have a bigger muscle mass. So this current training setup, this current training block is not necessarily 100% marathon focused. Yes, all my running training is marathon focused, but I am also currently trying to build up all the muscle that I lost. Now, over the past 5 weeks, I've already gained 1.5 kg, and obviously not all of it is pure muscle. There's some water weight, there's some fat gain as well. And because of that, the current marathon block is not an 100% marathon focused block. I'm also trying to regain the muscle. So the way I'm structuring my training at the moment is somewhat unconventional. For the marathon, I'm still hitting my training sessions, I'm still hitting the mileage, but because I'm also hitting 4 to 5 weight sessions per week, I need to account for that training load on the body. So my mileage is lower than it would have been had I been doing only marathon training. So at the moment, I'm averaging around 110 kilometers per week, which is not mad mileage. And as it stands, my week looks more or less like this. Monday is my recovery day after the long run on Sunday. So it usually is gym and bike. Then Tuesday is track session or fartlek plus cross training session in the gym on bike and a gym session or an easy run instead of the cross training. Wednesday is another easy day. It'll be usually a double easy run. Then Thursday is a track session or a tempo run. Then Friday is usually my easy day where I'll do gym session and an easy run or a double easy run. Then Saturday is my another easy day. I would usually do a gym session and an easy run. And then Sundays are my long runs. And at the moment, my long runs are between 30 to 35k, and depending on the week, it will be either a steady long run or a workout of some sort. So for example, a 4x5k with 1k float in between, or a 6 5 4 3 2 1 where 6k warm up with 5 4 3 2 1k's on with 1k float in between, or something along the lines of 10x3, which is a very heavy session. Now, if I was only focusing on marathon, my mileage would be higher. I'll be perhaps aiming for around 130 150k per week, but given that I'm also training with weights quite heavily, the recovery demands that I'm putting on my body at the moment are much higher as well, so I have to account for that. Hence, I'm substituting a lot of easy runs that I would be doing if I was only training for a marathon with cross training on the bike. And then in terms of the weight training at the moment, I am doing an upper lower split with a big focus on compound movements. And how I would space them throughout the week is that I would do my upper body on the days before speed session and track session, because if my upper body is sore on the day of the track session, it does not really impact how I run. And I will be doing the leg days or like lower body on the days where I do track sessions, usually in the afternoon. So I'll do my track session or speed session in the morning. I have the lunch or the guts of the day to recover, now rest, and then hit the legs in the afternoon. And then if my legs are somewhat sore after track session or slightly fatigued, I'm not that overly concerned. Also, during the current gym sessions, I'm not going to failure on any of my reps. That is not just for this current block, it's just in general. I believe if you're cross training and you're doing a lot of cardio or other sorts of training, if you train to absolute failure in the gym, it would hugely impact how you can perform during your runs. You can still add a lot of stimulus, you can still progress massively by not going fully into, one rep max failure or really train to failure. The recovery needs that you need are much higher. So let's say, for example, I train on squat to absolute failure. It would take 3 or 4 days for me to properly recover, be fine again. And for those 3 or 4 weeks, I won't really be able to do any of my running sessions. Whereas if you're not in absolute failure, you're not training in 1 rep maxes, you can still add a lot of stimulus, you can still progress massively, you can still add to your training without sacrificing any of your runs, any of your speed sessions. So you have to be smart about how you load your body. As of right now, I'm up about 1.5 kg from my initial weight and when I arrived here at the camp. And I do think over the next 3 or 4 months, I should be in around 89-ish kg, edging towards the 90 kg mark where I feel the most comfortable at. And if any of you are interested in building strength, speed and endurance simultaneously, I do have an ebook that I have released recently which breaks down how I approach training, how I approach periodization, and it does provide 2 8-week training plans that could be run on repeat. One 8-week plan provides for the 4 weight sessions per week where you do upper lower body split, which also focuses on building speed, strength and endurance. It does only 3 days per week in the gym, but those 3 days are all full body workouts. So depending on your preferences, time schedule and commitments, you can really work around and choose what works the best for you. The link to the plan is in the description. So that is the current game plan for this training camp. Hit 2:45 marathon, rebuild the muscle that I've lost over the past few months and have fun.